You are standing in the dealership, looking at a Mazda CX-30, and the deal seems almost too easy to justify. The price on the window says around $26,000. The interior looks like it belongs in a car costing $10,000 more. The stitching, the layout, the way the materials feel under your hand, it drives tighter and sharper than almost anything else this size. And for a moment, standing there, you feel like you found the one crossover that quietly outclasses everything around it without asking you to pay luxury money. But here is the part nobody tells you at that moment. The version making you feel this way is often not the version represented by that starting price. The car that earns all the praise, the one that finally justifies the badge, is a different trim entirely. And the moment you configure the Mazda CX-30 you actually want, the entire financial logic of this car begins to change. The price climbs, the compromises stay exactly where they were. And one feature that makes this car so appealing may be the very reason its value stops making sense. So before you sign anything, let's walk through what actually happens after that first good impression. Start with the number that pulled you in. For the 2026 Mazda CX-30, the base 2.5S trim carries a manufacturer's suggested retail price of roughly $26,375 before the destination charge, which adds close to $1,500 on top. That is the number in the ad. That is the number that makes you feel clever for even looking at it. And to be fair to the car, the base version is genuinely good. Every 2026 CX-30 comes standard with all-wheel drive, a 2.5-liter engine making around 186 horsepower, and the same sharp chassis that makes this thing fun on a back road. Nothing about the entry price is a trick. If you bought the cheapest one and walked away, you would own a solid, well-built small crossover. But many buyers do not stop at the cheapest one. And that is where the story really begins. Because the CX-30 is built as a ladder, 8 trims, climbing step by step, each one dangling a feature the last one didn't have. Heated seats, a power driver's seat, wireless smartphone connection, a nicer stereo, leather. And then, at the very top, the thing that transforms the car completely, the turbocharged engine. Here is the first crack in the deal. The features you assumed were included, the ones that make a $26,000 crossover feel like a premium purchase, mostly live higher up the ladder. To get the cabin that made you fall in love, you are already climbing. The Select Sport pushes you to just over $28,000. The Preferred brings you to nearly $30,000 before destination. And you haven't even reached the version that delivers the strongest performance yet. Now watch what happens when you reach for the top. The Mazda CX-30 2.5 Turbo Premium Plus, the version that delivers the strongest performance and the fullest equipment package, the one with the strong engine and the genuinely nice interior, carries a suggested price of around $37,900 before destination. Add that destination charge, and you are knocking on the door of $40,000. Sit with that for a second. The car that pulled you in with a $26,000 promise now costs you close to $40,000 to get in the form you actually wanted. That is not a small options bump. That is a price increase of more than 40% between the number that pulled you in and the version that satisfies you. And this is the dominant contradiction of the entire vehicle. The Mazda CX-30 earns its reputation as an affordable premium crossover. But the affordability and the premium feeling do not live in the same trim. You can have the low price, or you can have the experience everyone praises. The farther you chase the full premium experience, the farther you move from the affordable price. Now, you might be thinking, fine, so I pay more for the good one. Nicer cars cost more. That's normal. And you would be right, if the only thing changing were the price, but it isn't. Because here is what spending roughly $12,000 more does not fix. The Mazda CX-30 is a subcompact crossover. That is its whole category. And no amount of turbocharging or leather changes the physical size of the box. The back seat that felt a little tight on the base model is exactly as tight on the $40,000 version. The cargo area that looked small when you opened the hatch is still small. You are now paying near luxury money for economy. Car space. Think about what that means in practice. At $40,000, you are shopping in the same territory as larger, roomier vehicles. Compact SUVs a full size up. Well, equipped mid-size options. Vehicles that give you back seats an adult can sit in without negotiating knee room, and cargo areas that swallow a real grocery run, or a stroller, without a fight. The CX-30's greatest strength, that tight, premium, driver-focused feel, is inseparable from its greatest limitation, which is that it is simply a small car, and the more you spend to get the good version, the louder that trade-off becomes. And this is where the real comparison arrives. Now compare the price, not the badge. A CX-30 Turbo Premium Plus starts at $37,900 before destination. A larger CX-5 Premium Plus starts at $38,990. Barely more than $1,000 separates them. The CX-30 gives you more power and a tighter driving experience. The CX-5 gives you more vehicle. And suddenly, the question is no longer whether the CX-30 feels premium. It is whether being smaller and faster is what you truly value most. So which would you choose? The smaller, faster CX-30 or the roomier CX-5 for barely $1,000 more? Tell me below, because your answer leads directly to the most important question in this entire purchase. The turbo is the feature that makes this car special, but is it the feature that makes this car worth it? Let's be honest about what the turbo gives you, because it is real. That engine transforms the driving experience. It adds genuine punch, the kind that makes merging and passing feel effortless, the kind that makes the car feel quicker than its size suggests. On the road, it is legitimately satisfying. Nobody who buys the turbo is imagining the difference, but here is the counterintuitive twist, and it is the heart of this whole decision. The turbo is not just an engine upgrade. On the CX-30, you cannot simply add the turbo to a cheap trim. The turbocharged engine is bundled into the most expensive versions of the car, so choosing the engine you want also forces you to buy every layer of the ladder beneath it. You are not paying for a turbo. You are paying for a turbo, plus every premium feature attached to it, whether you wanted all of them or not. And that reframes the entire purchase. The excitement you feel about the engine is doing a lot of quiet work. It is what makes a $40,000 price on a subcompact feel acceptable in the showroom. Under the lights, on the test drive, the car's single greatest strength becomes the reason you talk yourself into overlooking its weakest financial argument. There is one more reason the top trim matters even if resale remains respectable. Depreciation applies to the price you actually paid. A similar percentage loss removes far more real dollars from a $40,000 turbo than from the base model. The percentage may look reasonable. Your bank account still feels the higher starting price. Let's bring the open loop all the way back around. Now, you walked into that dealership believing you had found the rare thing, a premium-feeling crossover at a mainstream price, and you were half right. That car exists. It is the base 2.5S, and it is a legitimately good, honest value. The problem is that it is often not the version you end up wanting, because the moment you sit in it, you start noticing everything the next trim-up would give you. The trim structure keeps pulling you toward the next upgrade. Contradiction was never that the CX-30 is a bad car. It isn't. The contradiction is that the two things you wanted from it, the low price and the premium experience, sit at opposite ends of the lineup. And the feature you were most excited about, that turbo, is the specific mechanism that forces you to choose the expensive end. So who should still buy this car? If you genuinely love the base or near base CX-30, if the tight, sharp, well-built feel is enough, and you can live happily without the turbo and without the top trim luxuries, this is one of the best, driving, affordable crossovers you can buy. Buy the lower trim, enjoy exactly what sold you, and let the ladder go. You will get the honest version of this car's promise. Who should walk away if the only version you actually want is the turbo? If nothing less than the $40,000 experience will satisfy you, then you owe it to yourself to pause. At that price, in a subcompact body, you are no longer buying a clever value. You are buying an emotional purchase, and you should shop it honestly against the larger, roomier vehicles sitting in that same price range. Starting with the CX-5 showroom over. The turbo is wonderful. It may also be the exact reason the numbers stop working. And here is the single thing to calculate before you sign anything. Take the price of the trim you actually want, not the one in the ad. Compare it, dollar for dollar, against every vehicle you can buy for that same money. If the CX-30 still wins for you after that comparison, buy it with total confidence. But if you only feel good about the price when you avoid looking at the alternatives, that is not the car making sense. That is the showroom lighting doing its job. The good news is simple. Now you know exactly where the trap is set, and a buyer who knows where the ladder starts is the one buyer the ladder can't catch.